Welcome to Surf Dudes with Attitude, a podcast about California dreams, but not this week. We're on side project, and we're going to jump in our Cessna plane, and we're going to talk about another show that may or may not have a small ratioed band plot to talk about. With me are my very special, lovely friends and co-hosts, James and George. Hello.
Hey there, bub.
Hello. Lots and lots to talk about the band.
Yeah, okay. I can tell when I started this episode, I was like, oh no, my friends are gonna not be my friends anymore. This episode barely has anything to do with the band, but I think they redeemed it. So we are going to Stars Hollow this week. We're going to talk about Gilmore Girls, the early aughts mother-daughter fantasy show, and we don't know what the fuck we're talking about. We're going to talk about our experience with this show, if we have any, but we brought in the big guns this week. We are bringing back to this show Sophia from the Dance of Joy podcast.
Hello.
Thank you so much for being here and ushering us into this world. We don't know what we're in for. This is Pete from New York City. Thank you again for coming on Surf Dudes with Attitude.
Thank you for having me. I'm here to answer all your questions about Gilmore Girls. As I am an American woman of a certain generation.
I don't even know if that answers my question. I only knew that you watched the show because I was listening to your podcast before you were even on our podcast. If anybody doesn't know, we did an episode about Perfect Strangers. Sophia did an entire rewatch podcast with her brother Imran, who great guests. We did a side project with them, and during one of the episode that we were talking about had somebody from Gilmore Girls, and your brother mentioned it, and you immediately started grilling him. You're like, no, what did he play on Gilmore Girls? I need to know. And it was like one episode.
Right.
He maybe played the doctor or something. And then I was like, lodged in my brain, Sophia, big Gilmore Girls fan. Yeah. And then I remember that we had it on our list of stuff to do. So I immediately reached out, and I'm glad we got this together.
Pete, I was surprised to find out your relationship with this. I didn't know that you were considering doing a Gilmore Girls show instead of California Dreams.
That is untrue. But I do have some history with this show. My ex used to watch it all the time, and as our relationship deteriorated, there was just a lot of Gilmore Girls that we kind of sat silently and watched together. Not together, but it was like, hey, well, we're not having sex in this dead bedroom situation. I guess there's another episode of Gilmore Girls to go on. So I think she wished that she had this relationship with her mom, and I wished for somebody as interesting as Rory or Lorelei in my life. So I think it worked out for the best that we're not together anymore. So. Have you got
all of us are like, no comment.
We changed from a podcast about TV shows to a therapy session really quickly.
Well, it's a lot cheaper.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
George, James, have you ever seen an episode of Gilmore Girls?
This is the first episode of Gilmore Girls that I have watched. It has been on around me before, as I have now lived with two people who have watched the entire show.
Oh, okay.
While living with them, one being my wife and one being my former roommate. But this is the first episode I've watched.
Wait, your former roommate?
Yeah.
Who was that?
I'm not going to out him on this show.
Oh, so it was just a single dude watching all of Gilmore Girls?
Yeah.
Oh. Interesting.
Amazing.
I'm not going to judge him for it,
Yeah, whatever. That's
I mean, look at the podcast we do. I can't judge anybody, but
no, I watch California Dreams. So.
Exactly.
Listen, Perfect Strangers is a quality show. I'm gonna judge all of you guys.
We did find it out last time that Sophia is blessed to actually have watched the full good show, even if the last seasons were kind of phoned in.
It's so good. That show is
comparatively
so
with what we're watching. Sophia, but can you tell us what your experience has been with Gilmore Girls and why you are the person for this job to tell us all about it?
Well, like I said, I'm an American woman of a certain generation, which means we have watched Gilmore Girls every decade of our lives, of our formative years. Mm-hmm. And with every rewatch, you sympathize with different characters on the show.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I didn't watch it as it was happening, which was the early knots, but I watched it the first time just a little bit after that on like DVD box sets, or I think it was on like the CW or the WB or whatever, where they would play reruns all the time. But I watched it definitely on box sets. And the only reason I didn't watch it as it was happening was because I wasn't in the country much. I was out and about. So I missed it in real time. But then it's like you watch it in your for my generation, you watch it in your 20s and you're like, yeah, Rory's awesome and everyone aspires to be Rory and sympathizes with her. And then you watch it in your 30s and you're like, Lorelai's awesome. And then you get to your 40s and you're like, were Rory and Lorelei always that entitled and annoying? Yeah. Emily Gilmore is the most sane person on this show.
Wow.
And she got too much hate. It's really fun. It's fun. You got to watch it every so often.
Which rewatch will you start identifying with Sebastian Bach? That's my question.
Yeah. I got it. That's a question for you guys. The music.
I had vaguely remembered him being in the show, but thank you. So for anybody wondering, there are a few episodes of Gilmore Girls that have to do with bands. Lane is in a band. That's Rory's best friend. The way better best friend than Paris. Like, fuck Paris for real. But like we find Lane's band in this episode, and the basic crux is that they get offered a gig at CBGB. So I was like, okay, this probably has a lot to do with band stuff. So like, let's talk about it. And I went on some Reddit threads, and they're like, oh, this is a Lane centric episode. And I was like, as I was watching it, I was like, okay, the entitlement is real with Lorelei and Rory because it's all about them, and I guess they're the titular girls, but still, I was so bored with every other plot. So we're gonna try to barrel through it, and Sophia's gonna help us. But again, we are.
To be fair, it had more music and band centrism than probably the last 15 episodes of our show.
It definitely had more music stuff than most of California Dreams at this point.
Without a question.
Well, music is actually a big theme in the entire show, in all the seasons, right from the start, because Lorelei and Rory are immediately introduced, and Lane from season 1, as these like very culturally connected, like way into good music, good films, good books, intellectual types, but cool. And like the Bangles are in an episode, season 1, they go to a concert. There's a lot of music. There's a lot of music reference.
There's a lot of name dropping, I've realized.
Yeah. Well, Pete, why didn't we do this show? Like, as we're talking about this now, it sounds like we should be doing.
Well, okay, let's see how you both felt watching this show, and then you ask that at the end, okay?
Well, okay. So I think that there's a couple interesting things I want to talk about that are more like production elements of this show. As we were talking about before we started this, go ahead. Go ahead.
Let's get into it. So I just want to say we're Surf Dudes with Attitude. Contact us at surfdudeswithattitude@gmail.com. We do side projects every now and then. Let us know what other shows that might be good. We will talk about California Dreams next week, but I'm ready to get into this episode since it's dense and it's twice as long. Are you ready?
Let's do this.
Let's do it. Okay, cool.
Pete, I do want to thank you for now having like Gossip Girl and a bunch of other shows being recommended to me by watching this show.
You are in that demographic, Joe. You are a woman of a certain age.
They made the show for you. Yeah, exactly.
James, as you were saying, you have some affinity for this show.
I've never seen this show. My connection to this show is purely from one of my really good friends' mom, who was a set designer. She was a set designer for like 20 episodes, and she would always talk about it like it made her money for a while, so she didn't necessarily complain about it. But there was like, when she looks back at all the things she was on, she was like, man, that was really a dud. Compared to the other things I did, that was bunk.
She got to work on the Back to the Future set, and she thought it was bunk.
She thought Gilmore Girls was bunk. Yeah, exactly.
That's what the Back to the Future set.
Oh my God,
it is.
Yeah, no. So this is why I'm trying to say this. So I only have this understanding of this show from her. I was like, I'll take your word for it. You're the professional here. If it's not worth watching, even if it's on, I'm not going to pay attention. But having to sit down and watch this whole episode, it was hilarious because Courtney was like, oh man, this show's so dumb. And I was like, you've watched this show? And she's like, yeah, I've seen the whole thing. It's like you have to, like, right, if you were a woman of a certain age growing up in this country at a certain time,
it's like 6 seasons plus a revival.
It was a requirement.
7 seasons and a revival. I watched all of it and I decided it's dumb.
One of the things I think that is funniest, as somebody, again, I know nothing about this show. I started watching it and I was like, this opening theme song sounds just like a knockoff version of Golden Girls. Golden Girls.
But how dare you? But yeah.
Golden Girls, Gilmore Girls. What? And there's a connection. One of the big wigs, the showrunners or producers that did Golden Girls, did Gilmore Girls. He, in fact, wrote a book called All About the Girls or something, and it was talking about his involvement in both of these shows. Both theme songs are Carole King songs, except Gilmore Girls is the bunk version of the Golden Girls.
Can we talk about how bad it is? Very few times I've seen a TV show and been like, the California Dreams intro is better than this.
Yeah.
When my wife, she was looking it up, and when she told me that Gilmore Girls was also a Carole King song, I was like, no, it's not. You're lying. You're lying.
We're divorced.
There's no way that is a Carole King song. But it is. I couldn't necessarily confirm if that's a recording of Carole King, but I just think it was just funny, and like the wheels are spinning in my mind as I'm doing like all these math equations like flowing by my head, and then it clicks like this is Golden Girls for a younger generation. That's what this show is. And the fact that there's so much like interconnection of the people that created it, I don't know. I just think that's funny.
Golden Girls was like, but it was funny. And Golden Girls had jokes, and it was succinct, and it wasn't fucking melodramatic, and like it had some edge to it. Whereas like look, there's 7.5 seasons of this. We don't have to get through all of it, but like at least this episode was so saccharine and was so safe. And that intro, that fucking sepia tone intro was like, it was more like a Hallmark movie. That's how it felt.
Yeah. It's the Hallmark movie of shows. Yeah, sure. We'll
but like, you gotta still talk about getting fucked. All right? Like multiple times. Like there's nothing like that in Gilmore Girls. in your one episode knowledge of this show. I mean,
I'm not an expert. You're telling me stuff, dude. I don't know anything.
I mean, that's why Sophia's here. Like, does it ever get edgy? Other than Logan stealing a fucking yacht, does anything happen that's
yeah. Rory, the edgiest thing is Rory losing her virginity to Dean, who's married to someone else at that point. When that happens. So Rory starts, her first boyfriend is Dean in high school, and then Jess shows up, and then she breaks up with Dean and goes out with Jess, and then Jess, how did that one? Oh, then Jess and her break up just as she's graduating the fancy private school and going off to Yale, and then she gets to Yale before Logan shows up in her life. She gets to Yale and comes back home like her freshman year, and Dean is like has always wanted this like trad wife kind of situation. So he ends up, he gets the trad wife and then like earlier when they're in high school and dating, there's a whole episode about how they have a fight about it. And then whatever, when he's still with Rory and he's like, my mom was home and made dinner for my dad, blah, 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 blah. So then he gets this trad wife right out of high school. He doesn't go to college. He starts working for Taylor or whatever, doing construction around Stars Hollow. And then she comes home and sees that they're like fighting and realizes that she's still in love with him from college. And then they have sex. She loses her virginity while he's married. And then Lorelei gets really, anyway, that's probably, there is some edginess there. Spicy. And also in the revival, they turn Rory into this like, in the revival, she's talking about she's grown up and she's like this journalist hopping around from city to city. And then she's hooking up with Logan, who's engaged to another woman. And she's having
spicy.
Like loose casual sex. And then at one point she goes and interviews some guy in a line for something outside in New York, but he's in a Wookiee costume. And then it comes out that she like slept with the guy in the Wookiee costume. And then at the end of the revival, the very last scene is her and Lorelei, and she's like 30 now, the age that Lorelei
she
was
gets,
when
like,
it started.
pregnant, and then it's
Yeah,
like
she's like, Mom, I'm
cycle.
pregnant. And the big cliffhanger is like, we don't know if it's Logan's baby or the Wookiee's baby.
Or Chewbacca, yeah.
And she also has in the whole revival, has this boyfriend, and the running joke is that nobody ever remembers who he is or what his name is, and he's left like some boring guy that like she's been with for a couple years. And so the big cliffhanger at the end of the revival is that like nobody knows who's the baby daddy.
Mm-hmm.
But
we'll never know.
Everyone hates the revival anyway. So we don't have to talk about that.
I mean, you should be ashamed of yourself. She is like way better with the history of a show that she doesn't cover all the time than you are with California Dreams.
I mean, how much time do we have? We could talk Gilmore Girls till tomorrow.
I definitely remember the final episode, and it was like she got pregnant, and there was no talk of an abortion whatsoever. And then they're like, okay, I guess this is the cycle of life. Now I'm going to be the mom, and it's just teasing the fact that we might get a Gilmore Girls or something like that. So
right.
I remember even my ex was like, I don't like this.
Nobody liked it.
This makes me remember I'm in a terrible relationship with you. So
back to therapy. Here we go. We're back to therapy.
Well, let's talk about let's talk about the Lane character.
Well, like, we try, like, obviously this episode is twice as long as what we're normally used to. But my question was this cold open where they're at the church and they're talking about the Stan person that died. Is Stan anybody, or is it's just somebody okay, then we don't have to talk about it.
The cold opens were just little like slice of life.
And they're so long comparatively. And, to like what we're used to. And
I was convinced that was going to be part of the plot, but it wasn't. No. It was all just a conduit for the bells.
It was a long walk to get to the
but,
like
hey,
we did get stale joke.
We did get Melissa McCarthy.
Well, dude, she's a staple in the show. She only came back for like
every episode.
She only came back for like a cameo in the revival, if I'm not mistaken. Because like they didn't even ask her.
I don't know the background, but she was like probably the most successful and working at that point. So
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. She at that point she was big time. She wasn't going back to TV.
Even Milo Ventimiglia came back.
Yeah,
briefly for the revival. Jess, but he's now a hot shot because he was on.
And the other cameo in this episode, which
Rami Malek.
Rami Malek. Yeah.
But it's like, it was always my understanding, like this show and the shows of a similar era. We were talking about Gossip Girl before we started recording.
Too.
Yeah, like there were a couple shows during that time period that were literally breaking the next generation of stars. And this was one of them. Like, I imagine if we randomly selected any episode, we'd catch at least one face. It's like, oh, damn, that's that guy.
I just saw one season 2 when Lorelei graduates community college business class. It's it's Seth MacFarlane on there as like a community college student cameo. And then later on, a young Leslie Odom Jr. of Hamilton fame is a Yale student on like a debate team or something.
Oh my god!
Or some like panel So anyway,
a rare minority in the Gilmore Girls universe.
Yes. As is Rami Malek, but Rami Malek passes as white, so
yeah, for sure.
Doesn't count.
Speaking of stars that hit it super big, we're gonna go to the garage where we see Sebastian Bach for some reason in this band.
Not expecting that at all. I was not expecting that at all.
Can you explain, Sophia, why Sebastian Bach, who's not playing himself, is in this child's band?
He was Skid Row, right? That was his band?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know the why behind the casting. We'll have to look that up. But
it's stunt casting. That has to be.
Like Lane.
He's a rocker.
So it goes back to the Lane character from season 1. Lane is into music, right? And her mom is actually in the beginning they talk about her parents, but it's really only her mom the whole time. Nobody knows what the deal is with her dad. He's not around. But is this like very strict Seventh-day Adventist, like Bible lady. very strict Korean lady, and there's jokes throughout about like the flavorless food Lane has to eat, and Rory's always sneaking her like Snickers bars and stuff like that.
Because religious abuse is hilarious. That's what we found out.
And from season 1, she's like, we know that in her Lane's mom also runs an antique shop out of their home. So like the downstairs is just like a mess of furniture that people come.
She's a hoarder as well.
Yeah, it looks a bit like that, but it Stars Hollow, right? So it's like a quaint antique. People come there from New York or whatever to go antiquing. So, but we see from the very beginning, Lane under the floorboards of her bedroom floor has like her CD collection hidden, and which we'll see later in this episode is when
her whole kink closet gets discovered.
Her closet, everything she's hiding out, and that stuff has been around from when we first meet her in high school.
Oh, so we're closing a loop then.
Yes, that it is a pivotal moment in this episode.
See, guys, I picked a good episode, so fuck off.
I had a friend in high school that like this pretty much happened to. Like his mom found all of his CDs and they were like extremely Christian, so that she made him get rid of like everything, like sound, and it was like over bands like Soundgarden. It wasn't like anything like, you know, Pantera or anything like that.
Slayer.
Were they Seventh-day dentists as well, George? So sorry. Anyway, so we actually have band stuff. Very few points to this episode. So Sebastian Bach is in this band. They're all young. They're I guess like right out of high school, young. So
no, they're
like community college age, right?
Right out of high school. Lane's right out of high school. I don't know where she.
Yeah, Lane's on drums. They have a bass player. They have a guitar player. A guitar player is really uptight, but for some reason says the band's too uptight.
That's her boyfriend too.
Oh, gross! What a terrible idea. But he was saying we don't want to be too on the beat, and then he said something about like we don't want this to be too prog rock. James, did you like? I will say that that's like not a bad critique. You know, he wasn't voicing it really well, but like when there is a band, some like a Dream Theater type of band that is just dead on, it just sounds like it's synced up to a click. It's very boring. Do you agree or disagree or have any thoughts about this band?
You know, I don't know if I disagree, but I thought it was like the objective of a band to be as tight as possible. So
you would think
somebody in the band saying we need to not be as tight as possible triggers me in a very specific way that
so non-specific.
I was very annoyed that anyone would even open their stupid fucking mouth and say something like that at band practice.
I think he's just upset.
But that's a me problem.
I think he just doesn't like the band in general. He doesn't.
He sounds like Wet Blanket.
No. I don't know anything about the history, and Sophia, tell me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But the lead singer is mad that Sebastian Bach has joined because he's jealous or because he's 20 years older. I don't know what the dynamic there is, but that's where that tension came from.
It is a jealousy, and I have to correct myself before Gilmore Girls fans get mad. They don't start dating. Lane and Zach don't start dating till the next season.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
She had started playing drums in like season 3 when a music store opened, and she's like, "This is my calling. I want to rock," and hid it all from her mom, obviously. And then she solicited for other band members. Like she put up signs, "Let's start a band," and so that's how the whole band got started. And then Sebastian Bach shows up when they're looking for a new member. And I think it was a jealousy thing. Yeah. Because he wanted to like have control. And the episode after this, they like have it out, and I should have rewatched that too. But
yeah, really.
I will find.
I mean, honestly, Sebastian Bach seems like the most level-headed and most like professional musician and all this. I guess that makes sense because he's like 20 fucking years older, but like I think maybe the joke and I want to give them credit, like maybe the joke here is that like even though he came from Skid Row and he was like a crazy rock star back in the day, him being very level-headed and like a responsible father might be the long con joke here. Is that
Yeah.
maybe accurate? Okay.
Yeah, and Zach, the main guy, is just like, why do we have this old guy? He's always talking about his kids, this and that. There's
And his
like
name
some
is Gil,
references.
which is very
Gil.
rock and roll. Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure. So, but then they were talking about all the bands that they might have been embarrassed by, and Lane was embarrassed to like Fleetwood Mac. Like that band seems like Fleetwood Mac would be something they aspire to sound like.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, right. The lead singer was like, we sound too processed. We sound like NSYNC. And then there's this whole like little gimmick about how do you know about NSYNC? And he tries to play it off like he doesn't know anything, but he at the same time does. And then they were all listing their guilty pleasures. The rest of them weren't really guilty pleasures though. NSYNC would have been the only like taboo. Yeah. Any band I've been in, if somebody told me in the band that they listen to Fleetwood Mac, I'd be like, all right. That's cool. That's another band. They sold a lot of records, so I guess it's a good band to listen to. And so anyways, Sebastian Bach steps out. He gets a call. He goes out in the driveway, comes back in. He says, hey, guys, we've got a gig. I know the sound guy at the legendary New York punk rock staple venue, CBGB's. And I got us a show for Tuesday night at 1 a.m. And everyone's stoked.
Oh, did they say that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I missed that part because
Tuesday
I had a lot of questions
morning.
about when Lane left the house and traffic patterns and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, Tuesday at 1, that was the gig.
That's actually pretty realistic. That would be a first gig in New York kind of thing. That was my first gig in New York.
Yeah, you know? For sure. And even at that time too, like CBGB's was still it wasn't whatever monstrosity it's turned into now, but
it's now.
It's at the Newark airport now.
No. They turned the place that used to be CBGB's is like the last time I was in that area and I saw it, they were selling hi-fi stereo equipment. The irony there was just rich. And they're like hi-fi stereo equipment that it's like too expensive. None of us on this podcast is buying that.
But there's a CBGB's at the airport that just sells Americana food.
Well, because that's because it is a brand now. It is ceased to.
Apparently, this one closed 2 years after this episode.
Yeah.
So,
but that was real. That would have been a real scenario. And I mean, they're all stoked. But Lane is terrified because she wonders, how am I going to tell my mom? Yes. How am I going to figure out a way around my mom? Almost certainly telling me, no, I can't do this.
I mean, why is Lane not moved out at this point? Is there a reason? Is it just like I'm a poor ass college kid and I have attachment issues?
Because her mother is very controlling, and like it's probably a financial thing at that point. Because you'll see, she does move out after this and shares a very small apartment house with the band, with the guys, and they sleep in like bunk beds in the living room, and she gets the bedroom.
Unfair.
I thought they were a democracy.
At this point, they haven't. She just goes and escapes.
Have they done? They've done a gig at this point, though, right? As a band.
I think they've done local gigs. This is before. At some point, they go on a tour.
No.
Whoa.
Yeah, and then this is when the mom comes around. Lane's mom comes around to support them and everything and helps them book like churches and whatever. She's like, a tour is a tour. It doesn't matter if you're going to be serious. And she does that thing where like, you know, I'm a like a tiger mom, and Korean moms are like all about discipline and studying. But like, if you're going to be a rocker, then you have to apply those principles and be disciplined. And so if you're going to do it, you're going to do it the right way. And a tour is a tour, so it doesn't matter where you're playing. And they book like a bunch of little churches or whatever, and they get this little van and they do this like little Northeast.
Well, seriously, thank you for putting my worries to rest there. Now I don't need to watch any more episodes of this show. Their relationship gets repaired. It's all I care about at this point. It's all I know.
Wait, so you've seen all the episodes. As far as band stuff, is this the most band heavy episode?
No, they go on tour.
But like within the episode, like this amount of scenes dedicated to the runtime.
Is there an episode that's all about the band? Nobody else.
Would there have been a better episode for us to watch?
I don't think there's an episode that's all about only the band.
Because
there is one more band heavy one, which is at the end of the tour. They're arguing about like turns out like Lane's been lying to them the whole time so that and making them penny pinch or whatever so that they have like earnings at the end. And then you see them at the end of their like coming back in their little van at the end of the tour, and they're like, Lane, you made us eat like $2 hot dogs the whole time and sleep. And she's like, yeah, but look at all this money we have, we're rich. And what else? So yeah, that was pretty band heavy. Oh, there's another one that follows this where they have an opportunity to play for like a producer or something, and then Zach, following along on this timeline, kind of like ruins it and sabotages their set.
He kind of sucks, doesn't he?
Yeah, he sucks.
Okay.
He has a meltdown on stage. And there's another side story with he later becomes Lane's boyfriend, which everyone hated because her first boyfriend was Dave Rogalski, who's played by a young Adam Brody.
Oh, we're right. And he left to go to the OC, right?
Exactly. So Adam Brody was actually Dave Rogalski was in this band.
He played bass, yeah.
He had to leave because he went to the OC, and I was just reading this. That's when the show creator, the Palladinos, Amy and Dan, the married couple that wrote 6 of the 7 first seasons, they're big rock fans. They wanted a real musician. He had Broadway background, so they were like, he can act. And they brought him in to join the band after they lost Adam Brody.
Okay.
So.
Wow.
Where was I going with that? I don't know.
But basically, Pete was asking.
And then she, the next season, she starts dating Zach, and everyone, and this is where they I think they really did not do justice to Lane's character, the writers. Like Lane is like smart, right? She's bright. She has this ambition, and then they have her get pregnant with twins, and. Like never goes to college. She lives in this house with Zach, even with all of the boys in the band, even after they get pregnant, and then just becomes this and then she tells oh, they get married, right? And it's it's all coming back to me now. Lane and Zach get married. Lane's like a virgin at that point because she was in this conservative Seventh-day Adventist culture. So then the first time she has sex with Zach on their honeymoon, she gets pregnant with twins. And they have this scene with her talking to Rory about what sex is like. And she's like, it was awful. And now I'm stuck with twins. And then she just becomes this tired, stressed out, mom of twins. And we're like, what are you doing to Lane's character? Also, Rory was never a good best friend to her.
No, it never felt like it either.
Right.
Yeah,
her mom was right the entire time.
Right.
No, it's like Lane almost went from one controlling atmosphere to another. She never got to actually live her life. And you know what I'm always saying? The only thing worse than a trad wife is a trad wife drummer. Okay?
Yeah, you do always say that. That is something that you're always saying. It's just a little analysis of society. That's that's a terrible character arc for a show, but
I think the mom-daughter dynamic between Lane and Mrs. Kim in this episode is the more interesting storyline than
because Lorelei and Rory, that one makes no sense. It's never made any sense. This is not. I've done a small Gallup poll of every girl in the last 2 days, and they're like, my relationship with my mom was nothing like this. We didn't speak in long monologues, without taking a breath to actually listen to whatever anybody had to say. It's all sing-song. It's like a play. It's unrealistic, but it's a fantasy for people.
They do have conflict in later seasons when Rory drops out of Yale after the Logan boat stealing thing.
You guys think that's a metaphor? It's not. There's actually a boat theft in this show.
No, I picked up that. I picked that up. Yeah, I didn't doubt it.
And there's also the mother-daughter of Lorelei and Emily Gilmore. So there's multiple mother-daughter dynamics here, but Lane and Mrs. Kim don't typically get this much focus as
Attention.
was in this episode. Yeah.
Well, that's why I picked it. Really, I care about this character
Nice.
arc and
I care about Lane.
this dynamic. I mean, normally. Sorry, go ahead, dude.
We should probably advance to the next character arc of this episode.
Do we have to?
Because we're just doing a comprehensive history of the Gilmore Girls, which I'm okay with. I'm not complaining. I'm
not going to take this beat by beat because it's so long and there's so many plots that I don't care about that I've forgotten about.
That's fine. But the other plot is like when we're talking about if 50% of the episode is about Band and Lane and her relationship with her mom, the other 50% of this episode is what is the Gilmore mom's name?
Oh, Emily.
Emily. So Emily and her former boyfriend?
No, Lorelei.
Lorelai's
the mom. Emily's the grandma.
We didn't see her in this episode.
Yeah. There was no Emily. So Lorelei goes to visit her ex-boyfriend, ex-husband who owns the diner. And she finds out that he has moved.
They're not exes yet.
Oh, okay. So they haven't dated. They're just friends.
They haven't. Yes.
Okay.
Have they fucked at this point?
I don't think at this point.
This is so puritanical. This whole show. Why? I mean,
dude,
they date later on. They get together later on, but at this point, but there's been tension between. There's been attraction.
This is a long will they, won't they?
Yeah, there are so many shows of this era. We're just like this. Again, we were talking about before comparable shows. Like the dialogue reminds me a lot of Scrubs. This show, like in its form and structure, not necessarily what it's about, but in its form and structure, reminds me a lot of Gossip Girl. And it's like just early 2000s, the dramatic shows. This is what they were like.
Sorry,
it's what they're like.
I've never seen Gossip Girl. Is it a comedy or is it a drama?
It's a drama. It's for sure a drama, but it's very similar to this, and it's like it's skirting this line between like they're talking about kind of edgy stuff, but it's not. It's in a really safe way, so it can be shown to children, and the dialogue is similarly like dramatic. Like,
did you, as a single guy, watch all of Gossip Girl? Are you George's roommate?
No.
Okay, all right.
My wife loves that show, and I've had to sit and watch some of it, and it reminds me very much of Gilmore Girls. However, I do know adult men of a certain age who have watched all of Gossip Girl unironically. So let's spare your fucking judgments.
I'm not judging. Okay. I'm just curious. I'm learning a lot about all my friends on this episode, which is great.
But, I don't know. It was just, it was like that. Like this immediately took me back to like the early 2000s, and definitely like her interaction with this the bakery guy, the diner guy,
Luke's Diner, the titular Luke.
This to me was like the most
She's pretty
most
annoying
of a snapshot.
They're all annoying. That's the point. They speak so loud.
The exchange
every single one of the
bells.
characters was completely annoying,
dude. And it's almost like a video game. Everybody else is NPCs, and these people are just like everybody just has to listen to them. There's no music at this diner. They're just loudly talking about this. And everybody's entitled. Everybody's awful. And you didn't see it, but there's so many town hall meetings in this show. They're constantly going to town hall meetings and
talking through them. They're always
talking during a funeral. These people are actually the villains of this show.
All right? They're talking during a funeral and wishing death upon other people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you sure this was on the Back to the Future set?
Yes,
because I don't think this was this downtown Pasadena.
No,
I don't think so.
No. Stars Hollow was the same
WB's
set used for
backlot. Gotta be WB's backlot.
So it is the same one. All right.
The big thing for me that I found shocking is how much outdoors that there is, because like WB to me was always like, it was kind of like the joke. It was like the low rent channel, like every show on WB was produced for a really low budget, and compared to California Dreams, there's so much outdoors.
Oh, okay.
And there's snow. There's snow in California. Like they spent serious money on this.
Sorry, I know
Gilmore Girls was primarily filmed on the Warner Brothers studio backlot in Burbank. The set for Back to the Future is downtown Pasadena. That's where the clock tower is.
What? I'm pretty sure that's where I read that there was the same place.
I don't think you're right. I
There's
think
no clock.
this is
There's
right.
no clock tower in Stars Hollow. I know that much.
Yeah. Thank you.
There is a gazebo.
And to prove that,
Sophia, we brought you on to agree with me.
Never. I will not.
Here,
You can't just write downtown Pasadena. You're leading the witness, okay?
Yeah, sure.
Just put Back to the Future and Gilmore Girls.
What is that? Is that the clock tower from Back to the Future?
I didn't say there wasn't a clock tower in Back to the Future. Oh my God, this guy.
Wait,
That actually might be Warner Brothers set though.
Back to the Future was shot on the backlots of Universal Studios Hollywood.
There you go. But the scenes where he's on the skateboard, that's Pasadena. No, that may actually be the set. But some of the stuff from Back to the Future is
The
like
diner.
the house.
Dude,
Pasadena,
Back to the
the
Future and
diner,
Gilmore Girls used a backlot owned by Universal called Courthouse Square. That's what I'm talking about. It's the same one, okay? I didn't say every set piece, okay? I didn't see a flux capacitor in Gilmore Girls, okay? I'm just saying it's
All
it's the
right.
Courthouse Square. It's the same one. I didn't say anything about a clock tower. How dare you? Even though
But
they're fixing
they play guitar in Gilmore Girls, and Marty McFly plays guitar in Back to the Future.
Look, that does lead us to one of the plots in Gilmore Girls. There's, I guess, church bells going for the entire time, and nobody likes it or something. But this is one of the inane plots that are just going on. That never comes back, does it, Sophia?
No,
Save the church bells.
I think that's just like the utility of that is to build into the will they, won't they
Okay, I see.
plot line about Luke and Lorelei's relationship. They start dating in season 5.
Jeez. What
they've
an edging.
They've always had a thing for each other. And in this episode, she's so like, I'm totally agree with Luke. I'm like, it's none of your business.
Yeah, she's up.
Who he's living with, where he's living.
I mean, he does not do a good job at kind of explaining this, but he
But
does
why
try to.
did he lie?
He does try to set some boundaries later, but it's probably too little, too late.
Why?
He's
Why did he lie?
That's all.
Why does he lie? Because he loves Lorelei too. He loves her back. He just doesn't.
He wants to keep this flame.
We know that as the audience from the very beginning.
Yeah.
But
does he?
It's just for the show. For the show, they keep him lukewarm.
Sophia, does he ever take the baseball cap off while making love? Do we ever see that happen?
Yes.
Why? Why would you need to
We
do
see
that?
him without a baseball cap. Yes. I think
so the only other thing, Rory has this plot where she is asked a boy out and he turns her down, and then she thinks that somebody's gossiping about her. The whole point is that it didn't happen. But there was only one scene I wanted to kind of talk about where they're at school, and it turns out, am I reading this correct, that Rory is a glaring Zionist, and she has a whole debate about the Palestinian-Israel conflict?
I wasn't sure if we were going to bring this up.
How could we not?
But I did notice it on the rewatch today, and I did consult Reddit about it.
What did Reddit have to say?
Reddit, hold on a second.
You know, while you're looking that up, the funny thing
anymore.
is, I was looking for this episode on YouTube before I found out it was on Hulu, and all I found were clips of that scene saying she's a Zionist. I just thought it was, hilarious. But yeah, that clip really didn't age well.
Most of the stuff
but it turns out she does work for the Mossad. So
most of the stuff that Rory and Lorelei say, you can tell that they're just reading from a script, like every other actor, but it sounds so fake coming out of their mouth sometimes, especially when they're talking about music. And it just sounds like you said Nick Cave, but I don't believe you've ever listened to Nick Cave kind of energy.
Right.
And this was the same thing. Rory was spitting out some crazy Zionist propaganda, and I was like, like 2004, you're saying that? Like, now it comes off even worse.
Yes. And even more interesting that her whole narrative, her whole character from the beginning is that she wants to be a Christiane Amanpour. She wants to go to Harvard. She ends up at Yale, but the whole time she's like gunning for Harvard, and she's going to be a journalist. She's going to be a foreign correspondent and this and that. And this, I was like, oh my. But I think it's obviously it's a reflection of the Paladinos.
Yeah, for sure. They wrote this whole thing, right?
But yeah, I definitely caught that, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And I was on the other thing, I was on the other kids, the kid she's trying to sass.
Yeah.
He was making a lot of sense, but but that whole story, like fans of the fans who like to hate the show and the Rory and Lorelei characters appreciate this episode as one of the few where somebody actually like holds a mirror, like takes them down and
Calls
is
them
like,
under shit. Yeah.
yeah, not about the Israel thing, but about the
Of course.
the other thing where she thinks he's spreading stories about her, and he's like, settle down, it wasn't you, the world doesn't revolve around you. And they both actually get taken down this episode, because that's kind of what Luke says to Lorelei as well, like, not everything's about you, so mind your business.
I don't think they understand it, but I'm glad somebody said it at least.
Yeah, and that's why people like Logan later on as the best guy for Rory, because he calls her out on her like entitlement as well. Even though he's
like just some rich nepo baby who would just like to get away with it for it, right?
No, but there's one. Yeah, yes.
You're coming in hot. If I'm wrong, you let me know.
No. There's one scene. There's one scene later on in their Yale career where she tries to call him out on all the privilege that he benefits from. And she's like, you wouldn't know this, you've always had everything, blah blah blah. And then he's like, wake the fuck up, you come from the same world, like your parents are paying for Yale, your grandparents are paying for Yale, he really calls her out, like, your character this whole time, or you yourself as Rory think that you're from this disadvantaged place because you had a single mom who raised you on her own, but like really she's from the same world. And by the time they're having this argument, she's also like, the grandparents have Yale legacy. That's why she ended up going there instead of Harvard. They're paying for her. They're getting a building named after her, all this stuff. So he's like, you're from the same place.
It's about time somebody.
How dare you call me out on that when you're like in the same kind of privilege.
So can you tell us, through all your innate knowledge of this show, what the fucking title means? So we didn't mention at the top, but like this is the 4th season, episode 11.
The Clamor and the Clangor is the name of this episode. I'm going to assume Clangor has something to do with bells.
Mm-hmm.
Clamor and Clangor.
Let's see. I don't know. I never paid much attention to the titles, but
Clamor is a loud and confused noise, especially that of people shouting vehemently.
So is that the bells, the church bells?
I think it's the church bells, and it's all the fights.
Yeah.
Well, it's all the fights, because the clangor is the continuous loud banging or ringing sound.
Okay. And well,
yeah.
Okay. Well, this episode aired January 27th, 2004. That doesn't help us at all either, but I remember when I was telling you guys what episode to watch, I'm like, I don't know what I'm fucking writing. But I wasn't sure if there was a part of a poem or something. Like California Dreams, a lot of their titles have to do with fucking movies that like no child would watch. And that seems on brand for Gilmore Girls, like quoting something just to quote something that makes you sound very pretentious.
Oh, it is. It's a line from an Edgar Allan Poe poem called The Bells.
There you go. Yep, that makes sense.
Okay.
In the clamor and the clangor, hear the loud alarm bells, terrifying they tell of the fire, how they scream and how they yell in the clamor and the clangor of the bells. The reference...
There's a bells thing. Okay.
So it's about the church bells, yeah.
I'm glad that is sorted.
And the arguments, yeah.
Really
we can all sleep good at night.
Can we talk about, so Lane's band gets offered this gig at CBGB's, however fucking nefarious that might have happened is up for debate, but they finally go there. We don't know how they get there, whatever. I thought that was going to be part of the episode, but apparently Lane has found a way to sneak out or just bails and goes. So we go to CBGB's green room, which I kind of want to talk about, and like, there's some dumb lines here from Sebastian Bach, like, hey, they're the Strokes. Like, that's stupid. But I gotta say, if this was a set that they built, it was like pretty good. I don't know if this was like they found a location.
That's for sure.
This looks really, really like an actual green room, and it looks really worn in. It doesn't look like something they did over the weekend. Those are old ass stickers
magic.
and shit. Yeah.
Hollywood magic.
What do you
buddy.
think? Do you think this is a real place?
No, that's for sure set.
It looks like it smells like beer and pee, though.
But
Yeah.
I don't. Okay, then it looks really good because like that would be a very hard thing to kind of.
It does
paint.
look really good, but if you're filming this whole thing on the Warner Brothers backlot, why would you want to leave the Warner Brothers backlot?
Okay, you're just rubbing that in. I think.
I am. I'm for sure just seeing it in because that is for sure where they filmed this show. It's confirmed. So.
I'm just okay. Well, it's. I think it's a pretty good job. Okay, so they're all very nervous about playing this show. The bass player has been tuning for a half hour. He's actually plugged into a tuner, which
that's pretty good for a bass player, though.
Attention to detail.
Yeah, it's pretty
compared
good.
to California Dreams is astronomical. We are not
for
used
a bass
to
player. For a bass player to tune in 30 minutes is pretty good.
Especially with more
it's
than
like
four strings.
above average. Yeah, exactly. It's above average.
So they're getting ready to play. I think Lane looks fucking awesome in this scene. I'm really bummed we didn't get an actual show because the booker comes in, which is the most unrealistic part of this episode, that the booker would be on site for Tuesday night at 1 a.m.
Yeah.
He has come in. He looks like he's been writing a manifesto. He's like, I don't know what he's writing on that paper, but he's like, guys, this isn't going to work. There's two people
show
out
notes.
there.
Come on, dude. He's a professional.
And the two people are the guy's
bass
parents.
player's parents, right?
I mean, a 1 a.m. slot on a Tuesday night was my first show in New York was 12:30 on a Tuesday night. So like that is actually pretty accurate. They weren't going to cancel.
How many people were
there? About twice as many as this show. So, but the thing is, with their timeline, it doesn't see, like, when did they start the show? I don't think this band watched any of the support bands. This is definitely a bringer show. Like, you got to bring this many people or you're not going to get paid kind of thing. But my band's definitely gotten bumped because not enough people have been in the audience. Like, has happened. It's super shitty, but, you know, that's kind of the risk
New York
you take.
City keeps it moving.
That's right. We got bumped when we played Sleep No More one time, and they're like, oh, sorry, this guy's just come from Letterman and he wants to play a set. So you're still getting paid, but you can fuck right off. You know,
that's pretty sick.
Blowing up right now. So, there's two people in the audience are the bass player's parents. Dork. I think Adam Brody would have done way better in this show. Just saying.
Yeah, his parents would have been so much hotter.
So they're definitely pulling the door. Two people, not enough to get paid.
And they're not drinking either.
I mean,
they don't drink. Yeah.
Should Sebastian Bach, being from Skid Row, have like an ingrown audience already? Shouldn't he have a draw in New York City? I know he's not actually Sebastian Bach in the show.
All his people are probably home with their kids too.
Exactly.
But like Lane didn't bring anybody either.
Lane is from a conservative household and just out of high school. Like, who's she gonna?
She has to hide her CDs in the floorboards.
Here's why Rory is a fucking bad best friend. Where the fuck was Rory? She could have brought Dean, Jess, everyone. She could have brought people from Yale. She could have been there for her.
Yeah, fuck
this
Rory.
Is a big deal.
James gets it. Fuck Rory.
But there's no reason for Rory to be there if they're going to cancel the show.
Well, she didn't know that. She should have fucking been there.
Right. You're going to be 10 people eating its own tail situation.
10 people there, they would have fucking put the show on.
This is the biggest thing to happen in her best friend's highly sheltered life. Rory knows that Lane has been in this sheltered situation her whole life. She knows what kind of life she lives, what kind of restrictions she lives under. Now she gets this huge opportunity, and Rory doesn't go and bring friends
She can't be there. She's busy sorting out rumor trash talking about her being in the laundry room.
She's busy being a Zionist at Yale.
Yeesh. So she wants to be an international journalist. That means she's working for Mossad. Come on, have we not picked up on this yet? The clues are there. Reddit figured this out already.
I think from a logistical standpoint, when we find out later that she leaves the house in Stars Hollow, which is based on a town called New Milford, Connecticut, which is 2 hours away without traffic to New York City, without parking, without loading in. they're not getting there till midnight at the late. So like Rory is in fucking Yale, which is an hour away from where Stars Hollow is. So like this would be like at least a 2.5 hour trip, you know, each way. So Rory's not going to make that. She doesn't have a boat to get on to obviously go to New York City.
She has a car that her grandparents gifted her with when she went to Yale so that she could come home often.
Yeah.
She's so privileged. Like no, I'm still saying Rory should have realized.
She definitely should. I'm not making an excuse for her. Rory should have been there, even if the show was a bunk, because like
Rory should have driven her there, been her alibi, everything. Like this is
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fuck Rory.
Fuck Rory.
Yeah.
Well, Lane shows up at Rory's place at 4 a.m. because she left the gig and didn't tell her mom where she was going. So her mom is, of course, upset, and that's all. Whatever. That's where we see the character arc kind of end. But like, I'm glad to see there's more of the band later, but that it implodes with some real life. Actual band stuff. We should just like compile all the band clips, and should be the stuff.
Probably something already like that.
Yeah, maybe somebody has had to have done that already.
Also, by the way, I'm just thinking about this now. Lorelei has also been a big presence in Lane's life, right? As the best friend's mom. And Lorelei also knows how crazy Mrs. Kim is. Lorelei has been like the refuge, the place where Lane hangs out, talks to about things. She's not cool with lying to another mom, which is why she calls her right away. But if this was like, I feel like if this was real life, Lorelei and Rory together would be like, Lane, this is an amazing opportunity. They would get the whole fucking Stars Hollow to go be there. You know what I mean? Like they should have all turned up. And
but I gotta push back. I think like Lorelei would try to be the best, like her daughter's best friend, which is basically what the vibe I got, basically, and that she would cross so many boundaries, basically trying to be the best friend as opposed to like an authority figure. Is that accurate
for Lane?
For Lorelei,
for her own daughter, yeah, she is. But there are multiple references throughout the show where she's like, I can't lie to another mom. So you have
like
to
part
tell
of her character,
unless it's to her own mom, who she lies to constantly.
Exactly. But
that pen is making you very powerful, by the way.
Exactly. Thank you. What is this pen? There's no markings on it. It's a neutral pen. There's nothing. But she has stepped into in various other scenes to try to explain things about teenage girls and whatever to Mrs. Kim and be like, you can't just shelter or like lock her up, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, Lane's an abuse survivor, right? Like it's pretty coded here, but like, I mean, as somebody that grew up with kind of like religious abuse, I'm like, that's definitely what it is, and it's not hilarious. So.
Right. And she sometimes Lorelei uses her own life as like, look, they tried to lock me up and look what happened. And like, I did something that you would definitely not approve of, got pregnant at 16, etc.
Was it 16? Okay. I knew it was young, but 16, but
it was 16. So that whole storyline is she came from this like, sort of rich, high class where they
upper
do
crust
debutante balls and whatnot. And all that is that all happens where Rory ends up doing a coming out bit, and then the grandma's like, oh, this should have been you. You never had yours because you were 6 months pregnant or whatever. And then there was like pressure for Christopher, who's also a character in this show on and off.
The dad, right? Wasn't he like pretty cool? Am I remembering that correct? Yeah, he was just like a normal ass guy, and it was like, you guys are kind of entitled, so.
But he could never commit or whatever, and his parents always blamed like, then there was when they got pregnant, they all pressured them to like get married and do the right thing, and he was willing to, but Lorelei was like, no. And then his parents have always blamed that for Christopher not going on to do great things. Anyway, it was all this like upper class snooty Northeast culture stuff. And then Lorelei never finished high school, but then in the current timeline, she's like goes back to business school, runs this inn, gets her degree, starts her own inn, becomes a business owner, all this stuff.
Isn't the road they're on like Boyle's Lane or something? I remember that correctly, right?
I don't know
Boyle's.
what road there. Oh yeah, there was an episode about renaming the.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's a town hall meeting.
They had a town hall about that for
town hall
sure.
meetings.
Yeah.
So
That's right.
So
You
on
do
your,
remember a lot.
yeah, it's all coming back to me. Like, so on how many rewatches has this been for you?
Oh, I don't even know. A lot. I just started again recently, and I'm making my mom watch it, which is interesting with the Mrs. Kim scenes. And with all the scenes, actually, all the mother-daughter scenes, I'm like, I just look over at her. I'm like, do you understand what's happening? And then I like stop and pause it to explain it. I'm like, just to make sure you understand.
Are we clear? Are we clear on
I
this?
should have said this 30 years ago, Mom.
And we watched this episode today, and I was like, are we clear? She's upset because her daughter talks to everybody else in town openly and candidly and goes to everybody else for advice, but not to her mother because she's afraid of what the mother will think. I'm like, do you understand that?
Is your mom proud of you for finishing the Perfect Strangers podcast?
She has no idea what a podcast is.
So would you say that like if she went in your room and she kicked open a floorboard, there would be your podcast under one of the floorboards that you've been hiding?
I mean, hiding by omission, like we just don't tell her.
Your
she has no idea.
Don't ask, don't tell situation with your mom.
Yes. And like occasionally people, like one time, I think like we have an uncle who like follows us on Instagram or something, and he said something about some show in her presence, and my mom was like, what show? And I was like, it's fine, we can move on, we don't have to talk about it here.
Are you just like, where do I even start? You know?
Yeah, I mean, it's that kind of thing. It's a very like, that's why I'm saying like the Lane Mrs. Kim thing. A lot of, okay, I am an American woman of a certain generation, but I'm also like a subset of that group where there's some of us who really relate to this Lane Mrs. Kim dynamic, even from our, because we grew up in similar ways, and that's why we're like, where the fuck was Rory? Why did the writers like do this to Lane's character and have her get pregnant and become like the band trad wife or whatever? Lane had so much potential, and Lane was just as smart as Rory and Lorelei and could have gone to any Ivy League, anything, but they just like the writers just like cut off all her potential and opportunities because they were like, oh, Seventh-day Adventist. I don't know.
They just set her up for failure.
They just set her up for failure. And then she marries Zach. And then they gave her, like, they almost gave her a cool story with Adam Brody, but then he had to leave, so.
They left us too soon. The best parts of Gilmore Girls, unfortunately.
Yeah. He was a great character on the show. He wasn't annoying at all.
I think it's funny that, like, we talked about the entire episode, and, like, the two titular Gilmore Girls gave us fucking nothing. Like the only interesting parts of this was like the side characters, and like this does seem kind of like an ensemble cast that people enjoy despite the main two characters being kind of awful. Like people still find charm in this show, but they're like, oh, but the lead characters are kind of awful, and you just get over that.
I think people like Luke, people like Suki, who is Melissa McCarthy's character. There's a character, the Gunn brother plays Kirk, who's like this side kooky character.
Peter Gunn's, Peter Gunn, Sean Gunn,
Sean Gunn, yeah.
And then the manager at the inn that they make too, the Moroccan
the
guy,
French guy,
they like him.
Michelle, yeah. And then Michelle's mother, I just saw, I guess it was season 2, Michelle's mother comes to town, and she's played by the first original Vivian Banks.
The one that got fired from Fresh Prince, right?
Yeah, and then never had a career because Will Smith was an ass to her. And so she did like these little roles, I guess.
You take that back. Will Smith has been like completely upstanding in everything he's ever done.
Not as back on
the
resume.
My bad.
So for the first timers here, that's the episode basically. George.
That's the
James?
entire series. That's the entire series.
Yeah, I mean, Sophia kind of took it through all of it. You guys do not have to watch the rest of it. But what did you guys think? Just dipping in our Cessna plane and parachuting into Stars Hollow, which may or may not have been filmed on the Back to the Future backlot. Like, what did you guys think?
I think you should watch the show.
All of it. And then make a decision.
From the beginning.
Yeah.
Start tonight.
Should I do that?
Start tonight.
This is the start of us starting Gilmore.
It's one of
Girls
those things where it's like, it's, even when my wife was watching Gossip Girl, I watch it because it's on. But even back then, like I never connected with that. It was just too unbelievable to me even then. And like, it's hard for me to watch any of that stuff and conceptualize how this was like the most popular show.
I have a question. James, is California Dreams, the dialogue, more realistic than Gilmore Girls?
Absolutely not. That's 100% not.
Really?
It's 100% not. It's not necessarily worse, but it ain't much better.
I think California Dreams is more realistic.
At least this show, the band actually sounds like it's an important part of the characters and their development through the series.
Okay, forget that for a second. I'm just saying the dialogue, like the way people interact with each other. I think California Dreams has one up on Gilmore Girls.
It does not. It does not. California Dreams was written by elementary school students. Gilmore Girls was written by middle school, maybe early high school students.
It was written by Mossad, I think. I think we've established
written
that.
by Mossad, yeah.
George,
in the voice of,
George, what did you think?
Rory Gilmore.
This goes to a very specific point in television where everything had this like really wordy, high vocabulary, fast talking thing, like Dawson's Creek, West Wing kind of a thing. Interestingly, do you guys know what Sebastian Bach was fired for? Not in this, but from Skid Row.
I'm sure it was something terrible.
He booked Skid Row to open for Kiss, so they fired him because they didn't think Skid Row was an opening band.
Well, that's awful because I guess when they would have got to the show, they would have got bumped anyway because it's Kiss, right?
Probably, yeah. So it's not too far off from what happened, but I was really bored during this show, and I asked Melissa if all episodes are this boring, and she said that you have to be invested in, like, it's a character show. You have to be invested in the characters, and that's what drives the show. So
this felt, it was twice as long as a California Dreams episode, and fuck, it felt like it. I kept looking, I was like, fuck, there's like 17 minutes. There's a whole fucking California Dreams episode left.
It was twice the length of a California Dreams episode and probably 3 or 4 times the content. Like this moved fast.
There was a lot of set changes on this thing.
Yeah.
I couldn't keep up. And I just realized that every single member of this show can't read the room. Every single person needs to fucking take a beat and listen to what people are saying, absorb, and then respond in kind. So
we didn't even talk about Paris.
That's okay. I hated her when I was passively watching this show, but does she have like an eating disorder or something that I can kind of attribute to her being terrible and justifiable?
No, she just has like a terrible home life.
Does she have affluenza? Is that like her? Okay.
I think she was meant to be annoying the whole time. She gets a little bit better later on in college. Sorry, I just had you guys got me so upset. I had a crazy coughing fit.
No, we saw it. We saw it on mute, and we're like, I think Sophia just died. So,
I don't know what happened. Now I'm like tearing up. I'm so emotional about Gilmore.
You don't have to finish the rest of Gilmore Girls, okay? Like your mom will still feel the same about you.
I'm kidding. As long as she doesn't find out about her podcast.
No, I don't. I hope not. I mean, but Bouts and Pinchot might tell her at some point because he's definitely a big fan. Well, I mean, can we give out some awards? Because we barely saw them play any music, so I don't know who pantomime the best. James, do you have an opinion?
No, I honestly, their pantomiming looked real. I could have accepted that.
Was the music better than California Dreams?
Yes, purely because we got music.
Stop! I'm just saying.
That's
one
it.
For one.
One for one. Yeah, one for one. They hold up against each other.
I think
Sebastian
Bach looks like he knew what he was doing. I will say that he wasn't.
I don't know if he does, but the pantomime was pretty good.
Okay, well, who do you want to be in a band with, Sophia? This is our Tiffy award that we give out if you could be with anybody in the episode that we just witnessed.
Oh, definitely Lane. In the episode, I was going to bring Dave Rogoski back.
No, you can't.
Lane, Jess. Was Jess in this episode? He was. No.
Jess was not in this episode.
Jess was not. I'm sorry. I was watching other episodes.
God damn it. Keep it together.
I was on two different Gilmore Girls timelines today. So I had to skip forward.
You didn't have to. I mean,
I didn't have to. I would go Lane, the kid from Yale that Lori tried to...
The laundry room stalky.
Yes. He's cool. The nerd bass player.
He's still uptight. I mean, what about Sebastian Bach? He actually seems like he has some contacts and like he's got his shit together. So I'd be in a band with him. I mean,
I would say that Zach is probably not the person I'd want to be in a band with. Zach is probably the one that I would likely end up in a band with.
That's unfortunately true.
That guy just seems like, every guy in a band that just causes shit.
He's got massive lead singer energy, and it needs to be fucking squashed like Rory Zionist propaganda was.
Let's put Mrs. Kim in the band.
Oh, I mean, I guess she does some tour booking. We find out later. So.
She should be the band manager.
Seems valuable.
She's really good at the manager.
So, James, I want you to guess what the next episode of Gilmore Girls is going to be about based on the title alone, okay?
Sure, let's hear it.
Sure, do you want to bring that up? Do you have it? Or
A Family Matter.
What?
You can't look it up, Sophia.
A Family Matter.
I'm
gonna guess it's going to be a pointless drama, 2 subplots, and a bunch of awkward, unrealistic dialogue. Am I close?
I gets upset at Steve Urkel.
So I guess Lane has come to live with Rory, at least temporarily. Lane fits right in at Yale, almost. Luke's sister Liz visits for her high school reunion, and Jess returns to get his car. Meanwhile, in town, while Jamie in town, Rory makes Paris decide between her two. Sorry, I had to put this. This is between her two. Rory makes Paris decide between her two guys. Lorelei finds money is tight. She and Jason agree. This is a lot. I'm just gonna give up. There's a lot of fucking shit going on.
Paris starts sleeping with a professor, like an old guy.
That is so Paris. That is so Paris.
And Lane is the one who starts noticing it while she's like crashing in the dorm room or something.
Okay. Well, I mean. I want to actually ask what normally we would ask you, Sophia, what the next episode of California Dreams is about. But you are going to be on the next episode of California Dreams with your brother, the Tiffany's Gold, I think it's called, and I can't wait to do that with you next week whenever this we're going to put this out whenever, but. I want to really thank you for coming on and kind of showing us the light here at Gilmore Girls. I don't think you convinced half the podcast to continue watching the show, but you've been utmost professional, and thank you again for coming on.
It. The Bengals are on it.
This is step 2 of combining our podcasts into one Rumble Fly podcast.
Mega podcast.
And I really appreciate you making some time for this.
Thanks for having me.
This has been Surf Dudes with Attitude. That's going to do it for us here. Please contact us at surfdudeswithattitude@gmail.com, and please like and subscribe on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. George, James, thank you again for trusting me and getting on the Cessna plane, which only has a single engine and could crash at any time.
Any moment. Yeah, we're dead. Yeah.
Don't know where we're going to next, but you're definitely going to hear it on Surf Dudes with Attitude. So until next time, keep them church bells ringing. This is Pete from New York City, okay?
Clangor.
This has been a Waning Moon production.